Have you ever felt completely drained, invisible, or taken for granted, giving so much of yourself that you forget who you really are? What if I told you that the key to true peace, strength, and happiness isn't found in pleasing others, but in finally putting yourself first? In life, we are often taught that caring for others is the highest form of virtue. Be kind, be available, be selfless, and somehow, somewhere, we start to believe that our own needs don't matter. We wake up one day exhausted, overwhelmed, and emotionally empty, wondering why life feels so heavy despite giving so much. Today, we are going to uncover a powerful truth. When you put yourself first, you're not being selfish, you are reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your purpose. We will explore how prioritizing yourself transforms your relationships, strengthens your mind, and allows you to live fully and intentionally. This is the journey from depletion to wholeness, and it begins with one simple but radical step: choosing yourself. There comes a moment in life when you look around and realize that you've been giving so much of yourself that there's almost nothing left within you. You give your time because you don't want to disappoint anyone. You give your energy because you want people to feel supported. You give your kindness because you hope that one day someone will finally understand how deeply you care. But somewhere between all the giving, you slowly start losing connection with the person who needed your attention the most. Many people think strength means carrying everyone else's weight on your shoulders. But true strength is the ability to recognize when your own shoulders are tired. We live in a world where people applaud selflessness but often ignore self-neglect. They tell you to be available, to be understanding, to be accommodating, but rarely do they tell you to be compassionate toward your own heart. And so, without realizing it, you keep pouring, you keep giving, you keep stretching yourself thinner and thinner, believing this is what makes you a good human being. But what happens when your cup becomes empty? What happens when you wake up one day feeling drained, confused, emotionally numb, and you don't even understand why? It's because somewhere along the way, you forgot that even the sun rests before it rises again. You forgot that even the ocean pulls back before it gives waves. Life flows in cycles, but you tried to remain available endlessly as if you were a machine and not a soul with needs, feelings, and limits. The truth is, you can't pour peace into someone when you're filled with turmoil. You can't offer clarity when your mind is exhausted. You can't extend love when your heart is bruised. When you neglect yourself in the name of caring for others, what you offer them isn't love, it's your leftover energy, your leftover patience, your leftover kindness, and you deserve more than to live on leftovers. You deserve to feel full again. There is a reason every flight teaches you the same rule. Put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. Not because you're selfish, but because you're essential. If you lose your breath, you can't save anyone else. Yet in life, we reverse this logic. We give oxygen to everyone around us, hoping someone will notice we are suffocating, but the world is busy. People have their own struggles. They may take your kindness without realizing the cost you are paying. That is why putting yourself first is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is step back and refill your cup. Rest is not laziness, it is repair. Silence is not distance, it is clarity. Solitude is not isolation, it is alignment. When you give yourself permission to pause, you begin to understand what your heart has been trying to say for a long time. You begin to see which relationships drain you, which commitments overwhelm you, which habits exhaust you. You begin to differentiate between what is truly yours to carry and what you've been carrying out of guilt. And there is something magical about a person who is full within themselves. Their energy becomes lighter, their mind becomes clearer, their presence becomes more meaningful. They speak with calmness instead of frustration. They give with intention instead of obligation. They love with wholeness instead of wounds. Putting yourself first doesn't make you selfish, it makes you complete. Only a complete person can give completely. Think of a plant. If you keep watering every plant in the garden but forget to water the one in your own home, eventually it will wither. And when it withers, no matter how much you suddenly try to revive it, the process will take longer, require more effort, and generate more pain. Your well-being works exactly the same way. The longer you ignore it, the more it demands later. When you invest in yourself consistently, your rest, your healing, your growth, you're not taking away from others. You're ensuring you can continue giving without breaking. People may not understand when you start putting yourself first. They may call you distant. They may call you changed. They may even call you selfish. But those who truly value you will understand that a fuller you is better for everyone. A healthier you creates healthier relationships. A peaceful you creates a peaceful environment. A grounded you creates grounded choices. The world benefits when you choose yourself. The world softens when you strengthen within. Putting yourself first is simply the decision to remember that you matter too. Your needs matter. Your feelings matter. Your rest matters. Your dreams matter. Your space matters. Your voice matters. The world does not lose anything when you refill your cup, but you gain back everything you had slowly lost: your clarity, your confidence, your peace, your energy, your sense of self. There is a misunderstanding in the world that saying yes makes you kind and saying no makes you selfish. Many people grow up believing that their worth is measured by how much they can tolerate, how much they can sacrifice, and how available they can remain for others. But wisdom begins the moment you realize that a life without boundaries is a life where everyone else gets a voice except you. Boundaries are not walls that separate you from people. They are doors that allow relationships to remain healthy, respectful, and balanced. Think of your emotional space as a home. When someone enters your home without knocking, without permission, without considering your comfort, it doesn't feel like love, it feels intrusive. Yet emotionally, we allow this to happen all the time. People walk into our peace, our time, our priorities, our mental space without any hesitation because we never learn to lock the doors. We never learn to say, this is not okay for me. We never learn to protect the inner home where our sanity and self-worth live. Most people fear setting boundaries because they fear losing others. But the deeper truth is this: if someone leaves because you honored your limits, they were not meant to stay. Real relationships survive honesty. Fake relationships survive obedience. A boundary doesn't push the right people away, it filters out the wrong ones. It teaches you to stop giving discounts to people who only come to take advantage of the full price of your kindness. When you don't set boundaries, you start living a life based on other people's expectations instead of your own values. You say yes to things you don't want to do. You agree to conversations that drain your energy. You tolerate behaviors that disturb your peace. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to shrink. You become smaller to fit into spaces that were never designed for your true self. Boundaries are the moment you decide to stop shrinking. There is a beautiful shift that happens when you finally understand boundaries. Suddenly, you're no longer afraid of disappointing others. You're more afraid of disappointing yourself. You no longer apologize for choosing peace. You no longer feel guilty for choosing rest. You no longer carry burdens that don't belong to you. Your no becomes an act of self-respect, and your yes becomes more meaningful because it comes from a place of genuine willingness instead of emotional exhaustion. People often mistake boundaries for ego. But ego says, I'm better than you. Boundaries say, this is what I need to stay healthy. Ego pushes people away. Boundaries protect both you and the relationship. Ego creates distance. Boundaries create clarity. When someone says your boundaries are ego, it usually means your lack of boundaries was benefiting them. It means they were comfortable with your discomfort. It means they appreciated your silence more than your truth. Setting boundaries is not about limiting love. It's about making love sustainable. It's about refusing to love others at the cost of abandoning yourself. It's about ensuring that your kindness doesn't become a doorway for your own hurt. Love without boundaries leads to resentment. Presence without boundaries leads to burnout. Giving without boundaries leads to self-loss. And a relationship founded on self-loss is never truly love. It is dependency disguised as devotion. Sometimes people will test your boundaries. They will say, you've changed because you stopped allowing things that once harmed you. They will say, you're acting different because your silence is no longer available for their convenience. They will say, you've become selfish because your energy is no longer theirs to consume freely. But change is not betrayal, it is growth. It is the moment you stop choosing discomfort just to make others comfortable. A person who has clear boundaries becomes calm. They no longer carry the tension of constantly pleasing others. They no longer feel anxious about being misunderstood. They know that their peace is not up for negotiation. They know that protecting their energy is not a sin but a responsibility. And when your inner world becomes balanced, your outer world begins to transform as well. Your relationships deepen. Your communication improves. Your decisions become stronger. Your presence becomes more grounded. Boundaries teach the world how to treat you. They teach people when to step closer and when to step back. They teach you that your time is valuable, your energy is sacred, and your emotional space deserves dignity. They remind you that you are not here to be available to everyone. You are here to be aligned with the right ones. And when you finally embrace this wisdom, life stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like a blessing again. There comes a point in life when you realize that taking care of yourself is not an act of rejection toward others, it is an act of responsibility toward your own soul. Many people confuse the idea of choosing themselves with abandoning the people in their life. But choosing yourself doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what was never meant to be your burden. It means you stop sacrificing your well-being for the comfort of others. It means you stop shrinking just so someone else can feel bigger. We grow up hearing phrases like, think about others first, or don't be selfish. So naturally, we learn to apologize for our own needs. We learn to suppress our feelings because we don't want to be a burden. We say yes when our heart wants to say no. We show up for people even when we are exhausted, emotionally drained, or deeply hurting. And somewhere along the way, we begin to feel invisible in our own life. Choosing yourself is the moment you decide that your emotional presence matters just as much as anyone else's. Choosing yourself is not abandoning others. It is abandoning the parts of you that allowed everyone else to come first, even at the cost of your own happiness. It is refusing to betray your own heart. It is refusing to stay silent when something hurts you. It is refusing to tolerate situations that drain your soul. When you choose yourself, you don't walk away from people. You walk away from patterns that destroy your peace. Often, people misunderstand your healing journey because they benefited from your unhealed version. They like the version of you who gave without limits, forgave without boundaries, and tolerated without question. And when you finally choose yourself, your mental health, your peace, your space, they may call it selfishness, but it's not selfishness, it's self-respect. It's the moment you stop living for validation and start living from inner alignment. True love does not demand that you abandon yourself. Any relationship, whether family, friendship, or love, should uplift you, not exhaust you. Healthy relationships don't fear your growth. They grow with you. They don't guilt trip you for choosing peace. They celebrate your strength. They don't collapse when you say you need time alone. They respect it. When you choose yourself, your connections don't weaken, they become clearer. The right people stay, the wrong ones fade away. There is a huge difference between abandoning people and creating space for your own healing. Abandonment is escape. Self-care is awareness. When you choose yourself, you are simply acknowledging that you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot support others while crumbling on the inside. You cannot uplift others from an empty heart. When your inner world becomes chaotic, your outer world naturally collapses. That is why choosing yourself is an act of service. Because a healed you, a calm you, a balanced you will always love better, listen better, and show up better. Think about a river. If the source of the river dries up, the entire flow disappears. But when the source is strong, every branch of the river thrives. You are the source of your own life. If you dry up, everything connected to you begins to weaken your relationships, your work, your passion, your patience, your joy. But when you nourish yourself, when you invest in your peace, when you choose what helps you grow, everything you touch begins to transform. Choosing yourself sometimes means walking away from conversations that disturb your spirit. Sometimes it means distancing from people who drain your energy. Sometimes it means saying no without explaining why. And sometimes it means sitting quietly with yourself to understand what you truly feel. This isn't abandonment. This is alignment. This is maturity. This is knowing that your life belongs to you first. People might misunderstand your choices, but that's okay. Not everyone is meant to understand your healing. You are not responsible for making others comfortable with your journey. You are responsible only for making sure your heart doesn't remain stuck in places it no longer belongs. Choosing yourself means you value your emotional truth more than the illusion of keeping everyone happy. It means you finally stop expecting others to prioritize you the way you should have been prioritizing yourself. And here is the beautiful truth. When you choose yourself, the world around you changes. You start attracting people who value your boundaries, respect your energy, and support your growth. You start experiencing relationships that are lighter, healthier, and more authentic. You begin to feel a sense of calm you didn't know you were missing. Your confidence returns. Your clarity deepens. Your inner voice gets louder. Life stops feeling like a duty and starts feeling like a journey again. Choosing yourself is not abandoning others. It is finally returning to yourself after years of being away. It is remembering that your soul deserves the same love you keep giving to everyone else. It is the moment you stop running toward people and start walking toward your own truth. And when you do that, you don't lose people, you lose only the versions of yourself that were never meant to survive. Take a moment and breathe. Reflect on how often you've put others before yourself, stretched beyond your limits, and ignored the quiet whispers of your own heart. Life does not ask you to abandon kindness or stop caring for others. It asks you to remember that you are the foundation of your own world. When you nurture yourself, protect your energy, honor your boundaries, and heal your wounds, you are not turning away from life, you are stepping fully into it. Putting yourself first is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of courage, clarity, and love. The more you choose yourself, the more complete, present, and peaceful your life becomes. Start today, for the person you prioritize now is the one who will transform everything around you.